I started this channel because I want to find my tribe. I love horror. I'm actually a horror writer, a published author, and I enjoy horror movies, books, shows, you name it. Growing up, I was always like a little different from other people because I was always a weird cousin that would bring movies every time. We had VHS back in the day, so I would bring like a stack of VHS tapes in my backpack and have my cousins watch it and just experience that because I thought that that was important, for me as somebody who enjoyed horror. For me, it started at a young age. I've loved horror movies ever since I was 8 years old. I was able to sneak downstairs without my parents knowing and watch movies that I wasn't allowed to watch in the house. And it gave me this sense of empowerment. I know it's strange, but it was fun and I was addicted to doing it. So it would be like clockwork. Everyone would go to sleep. I would sneak downstairs. And of course, the next morning to get up for school was a hassle. So I enjoyed watching all of the favorites, and movies that inspired me are, Friday the 13th, love Jason Voorhees, Freddy Krueger, Nightmare on Elm Street, and also Halloween, Michael Myers. So those were like my core three that I watched growing up. Besides my core three, I enjoyed other movies like Carrie, the 1970s version, of course, the original, by Stephen King, and I really enjoyed it. I thought that Carrie brought a certain presence to the silver screen. I thought that she was that awkward teenager that many of us are, and I was awkward in high school, totally awkward. I, try to hang back a little bit and I let my friends take the lead versus I wasn't the one to talk up for myself. So Carrie was, like most of us shy girls in school, a little awkward. I came from a sheltered home, so I identified with her right away. However, my mom wasn't that much of a religious fanatic, so I connected with the character based on how she was treated in school. I too was bullied, so I totally get it and understand where she was coming from. So for a character like that to be feared and to be so powerful, I thought that that was a really good flow for the storyline. I thought that Carrie was not this anymore, this meek and mild individual, but she turned into this chaotic, scary teenager and basically accosted everyone at the dance. So if you haven't seen Carrie, I don't want to spoil it for you, but it doesn't turn out well for the people who were at the prom that night. So I really enjoyed Carrie. Like I said, the 1970 version. I loved Aliens with Sigourney Weaver. I thought the original was so put together, and the fear, the buildup of it all, being isolated in this ship with this thing, and I do believe they never showed the actual alien. It's just the fear of the alien being on the ship, and they then show it later on. So I thought that that buildup alone was enough to frighten the hell out of people, and it made it so enjoyable and so shocking. And again, it was in this intimate setting, which was the spaceship. They had nowhere to run to. So I found that movie to be really thrilling. And as a child watching this and processing it, it was a bit much, but I found it fun and exciting. Another movie that sticks with me to this day is Amityville Horror. I am terrified of ghosts. It's a big secret. I actually see ghosts, and I did mention that on my channel. I've been seeing ghosts since I was about 8 years old. A long story, I'm not going to get into it right now, but my grandmother said that I was born with a veil, so I could see things and I'm more susceptible or aware of things that are around me that are spiritual. And it has been some taking some getting used to for me, and it has been a challenge in some areas, but I'm learning to accept it. I will be posting more videos about this later on to let you know some of my experiences, because I will be sharing on this channel my real ghost stories as well. So Amityville Horror, when I saw it as a child, I was just traumatized. I really was, because here I am, living this kid life, normal life, my mom and dad and my sister, and seeing the things that I saw in my childhood home, it really messed with me. And seeing this movie, it still scares me to this day because it's bringing all of those things that I feared to life. So with the family being haunted and them trying to figure out what's going on, and they find out it's like these sinister forces. So that movie really resonated with me, and it still remains one of the classic favorites that I continue to watch to this day. Another thing that I like besides, like I said, the other movies that I mentioned is Night of the Living Dead. I love zombies. I'm a big creature fan. So zombies, them chomping on people and turning other people, I just found that fascinating to, reanimate a corpse and all that stuff. So I'm big into zombies as well. So one of the movies that I liked was Night of the Living Dead. The original from the 1970s as well, the black and white, I love that movie. Even though it was black and white, it was still very scary to me because even though you couldn't see the gore and the blood, you saw these children and they were chomping on like arms and legs and things like that. So that, just seeing that visually was just insane. So and the scary factor of, they're coming to get you, that part in the movie I think really was, or really added shock value to anyone watching it, because you have this fear like anything can happen. So I enjoyed watching creature features with my dad. Back then it was before UPN, it was actually Philly 57, because I lived in Philly, and on Saturdays starting at noon they would show creature features, and I loved every moment of it because these creature features had Attack of the Giant Spiders or tarantulas and all kinds of crazy stuff, giant crabs and a wall of worms. So a squirm was actually one of my favorites back in the day. Very gross. These creature features kind of put everything into motion for me to be able to, absorb these stories, and not only absorb watching them on the screen, but to write my own stories. And, at 10 years old, I started crafting my own stories and putting my books together and writing these stories. I wanted to see those on the big screen. So that was a big motivation for me to start, being a writer and writing in the horror genre. Horror has always been my first love, and it's something that I am passionate about. It makes me excited, and it not only is this thing, but it's ingrained in the things that I love to do on the weekend. Of course, horror movies are always on the menu for that. So that's one thing that I enjoyed, and that's part of the reason why I started this channel. So in terms of my writing journey, I'll be sharing that with you as well. I've written several short stories. I have a trilogy, which is a vampire trilogy that is soon to release this year. I did release it the first time, and due to complications, I had to pull it back from the shelf and re-release it. So this has been quite a journey for me, and I think that I want to find other horror writers that I could connect with and establish a sense of community, because I think that's so important. I think many of us, especially as Black women, we tend to overlook those things and think that they're a little weird or beyond us. I'm a blurred through and through, and I'm proud of it. And I'm a horror buff. I enjoy some of the oldest stuff that's on record, from Nosferatu all the way to The Invitation. So I get my fill of horror movies, and this is part of the reason why I'm here. So I'm super excited to see where this journey takes me, and to find people who enjoy the same things that I do. So I'll be doing on this channel, I'll be doing movie reviews, TV show reviews. These are all going to be in the horror genre. So if you love horror, gore, slashers, anything like that, definitely follow this channel. I'll be going over different books maybe that I've read, different series. So I want to be able to dig into that, analyze them, and also I'll let you know what's going on with my writing journey as well. So in terms of my writing journey, I write horror. I mostly focus on monster stories. I like stories about vampires, werewolves, creatures of the night. Those excite me. So I encourage writers and creatives from all walks of life, because this will be the type of community just for you. I want you to be able to come online and express some of your frustrations, some of your wins that you've had with writing. I want you to be able to join me on my journey. And while I'm there, everything that I've picked up within the industry, I want to be able to share that with you. I've learned a lot of writing communities are not as forthcoming. So besides, the movie reviews and talking about shows and horror in itself, and me being a horror enthusiast and sharing that portion of it with you. I also want you to be able to share your what you're working on and be empowered and pick up some industry secrets, because there are quite a few out there. So I want to be able to incorporate all of that for you. So crafting this community space, I think, was the best decision. And I'm so excited to be on YouTube and so excited to be a part of your journey as well. And I would love for you to come on this journey with me, doing movie and show reviews and talking about it, and telling me what your favorites are and what you didn't like. So I want to hear from you. So thanks so much for watching, and leave your comments below. And I would love for you to follow for more.